So the funny thing is, these two, literally, I don't know, month, 2 months ago, we said, Rick, Tristan, do you mind doing an interview on stage? And the both of them were like, what? Us? No, we don't want to do that. And it was so funny because they're so humble, so like low key, so like they want to come talk to Kathy Burns and say, how do you do it? How do you do it? And I'll say I attribute a lot of their success to that kind of thing. But you guys need to know, when I met these two in April of 2022 at Firefly.
This is awful, by the way.
Why?
Like, not this, but like, yeah, we're
What's awful?
We get nervous about this. So.
I know. The guy's like, he's totally sweating bullets, but he's totally comfortable now because he was so wound up about being up here today. He literally left his entire garment bag in South Carolina and drove up here with nothing but like a tracksuit on. So, he's totally cool now. But you guys need to know, when these two came together, I have like just like, you can't measure the amount of respect I have for these two. When we met them, they're like, we do an okay business. I'm like, well, what does that mean? Well, this guy, I do 80 million on my own. That guy over there says, I don't do as good as he does. I do 50 million on my own. So together they're doing like a lot of business. And then they said, you know what? We think we're going to form this thing. We think we're going to like join forces and make this thing, which we're going to talk about today. But they were crazy successful in their own right and just doing their own thing and going about life. So I want to talk to you a little bit about them building Coast, which I think was kind of like, in a sense, like it's your brand. You don't just have a team, you have a brand. And I wanted you guys to talk a little bit about that. But beforehand, I know, these two are a great complement. And I think, they have had a complete divide and conquer kind of mentality about starting Coast, their real estate brand. But where are you guys ranked now?
Well, we are now the #1 team in South Carolina, and I believe we're in the top 20 teams in EXP. That's a fluctuating number, but I think we ended up last year at the end of 23 in the top 15 teams.
And what was the actual date you actually started Coast?
Our first transaction closed, I believe, in April of 22.
April of 22, and you're on track to do 300 million?
Should be about that, yep.
They just started, and they're on their way to 300 million. So one of the things that I did want to talk, and I know it's very big for the two of you, because I think a lot of people can get super focused on activities, or they can get super focused on I need to do a certain volume. But I know the two of you have talked about one word on your team, and that's culture. So I wanted both of you to kind of speak to that, if you didn't mind.
Yeah, so we're huge on culture, and we're so blessed. We have such a great group, and it was really about where we've been in the past, at different companies, and it was all about mine, and I'm not helping you, and different things. And we were like, when we're going to do this, like, this is all we care about. It's not volume. It's not, there's no drama. It's good people helping everybody. And one of the things we do at our group is, like, if you come on board, you have to help people. If you're running to an appointment, no, but you have to help people, and it's infectious, and we're so adamant about that. And it's our whole world, and it's so awesome to come in the office and everybody loves on each other, and it's just such a great feeling. So pretty blessed about that. And we have such a great group of people too.
Fantastic.
Like incredible group.
Yeah. And we've learned a lot of the culture from what we've learned with the people in EXP and how it flows from the top down. And it's transformational for your business, for the agents that come in they're starting from being brand new. We've got new agents, and just by planting that seed with one, and then it goes to the next and the next, and it's really the way to do it.
Yeah, and that's how EXP is, guys. And Tristian beat me up for a couple years. It's like, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. And then we did it, and it's like, gosh, we should have done this when it started, right? So it's pretty special. It's just the fact that you can sit here today with folks you don't know that, aren't in your area, aren't, on your team, and they're helping you and they're sharing ideas is pretty special. And that's how we are, and that's how EXP is, and pretty.
When you talk with people about, where they are when they're at these companies, a lot of us think it's just about the money, but it's not. We were on 65-35 splits, right? doing over 100 million between us.
No
That's
cap.
so awful.
Right, and we didn't leave. We didn't leave. No,
No
cap,
cap,
and we
yeah.
didn't leave because of money. We left because of culture, and then we created the culture we wanted.
And I have to tell you guys, like I still to this. So we migrated. There was an event at Firefly, and we migrated across the street to go have a few brews. And I remember these two sitting across the table, and they start talking about their numbers and their business and so forth. In my numbers mind, like they said no cap, and I'm sitting there going, you know, like doing the numbers in my head, and I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me, like how much they're leaving on the table. And literally both of them, and it was hard for me to understand at the time. They're like, I don't care about the money. Like we're joining because we like you. Like we're making this move because we like you guys. You know, and I'm going to use this as a little bit of a transition in a second, but it was about the people. It had nothing to do with numbers or anything else. It just literally had to do with the people. And, you know, it's funny because, again, here's a guy who's doing $80 million on his own before we even met. And now, and what I wanted you to talk to the group about is, what's your morning routine? Like, can you share
the other
with
day
them,
when I
like,
left the garment bag?
Yeah,
Just a
yeah,
typical day, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So can you share with them your AI expertise, your social media prowess, your funnels, and everything else that you run every morning?
So I'm not really good at any of that stuff. So Renata just put an Instagram page together for me, and I still don't even know how to open it or anything. So that's not my thing, but it really is just about being of service to people and just being genuine. And so I get up kind of early at 5 every day, and I write 3 to 5 thank you cards every day. So that's a big thing. I make 10 to 20 calls or texts every single day. So it doesn't have to be clients or past clients. It's a lot of it's friends. It's thanking you and things like that. It's just different things like that. But it's consistency. You can't in this business just not be consistent whatever you're into. So again, we're not big tech guys, obviously. But, it's just staying consistent. Do what you do and do it genuinely. And I think just really being a service to people. It's not like, hey, I'm going to do nice stuff to sell your house. It's just if you're really of service, and people will know that and they'll get that mindset. And then when they think about real estate, you can't be a silent agent. They have to know you're in real estate. And then they'll go, oh, gosh, I like that person or I like that gal. And then it kind of
So
goes
you don't
from there.
do any hard pitches?
No.
So you mean they just come to you and say, I like you, I want you to list my house?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So the thing I want you guys to think about for a minute.
How is that possible?
I don't know. I mean,
so weird.
Not the fact that he smiles all the time, but here's like, again, I'm doing the math, okay? If he's contacting even 15 people a day, that's 300 meaningful contacts per month, 3,600 per year. When you sit here and listen to everybody, you should be doing what Phil showed you a little while ago. You should be doing what Lisa talked to us about a little bit ago. You should be bringing numbers to the party when you do listing presentations or have those kinds of things like Leo was talking about. But let's not overcomplicate things. He takes a little bit of time every morning. He has 3,600 contacts per year, which earned him $80 million in sales. It's not rocket science. It's just doing it. And his whole thing is he's not doing hard pitches. He's literally just being of service to people. How can I help you, right?
Yes.
By singing to them, right?
That's right. That's right.
By singing to them.
Hey, Karen.
He's saying hi to my mom. Isn't that nice? So, but and I think both of you have had really a bit of a similar approach, right?
Yeah, I mean, we came together as a team, and we've definitely got different strengths. Rick is a crusher, a deal crusher all day long. I do a good amount of business, but I'm also behind the scenes, a lot on the marketing side, team building side, attraction side. But we complement each other, and it's funny, Kevin and I were talking, and Rick were talking about some of the questions, and it's like, how do you deal with conflict? How do you get everything done? We just jump on and do it. It's like every day, it's not you do this, you do that. We just get out there and do it, and we utilize each other's strengths to get it done.
Yep. And one of the things, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people here who have either thought about, they either have a team and they want it to be better, or they or they've thought about having a team. And the one thing I think maybe we do need to broach is, you've talked about this philosophy of, if we are of service to people and we keep selling and we do a great job, people are just going to naturally come to us. And I'm not talking about clients, I'm talking about agents when you're growing your team. Like, you guys, in a sense, have been a magnet because of the culture that you've created and the volume of sales that you're doing.
Right.
Right?
Transactions is attraction, right?
Transactions are attraction.
I think I heard that at Cabo.
Did you?
Yeah.
Might have been Brent. Maybe.
Brent.
I don't know. So, in terms of transactions, when you guys have thought about growing the team, do you have something in mind, or do you have the right people landing in your lap because of what you're doing?
I mean, people, at the beginning, it was us approaching the people we wanted to work with. It wasn't a volume thing. Mm-hmm. It was we like that person. Let's talk to them. It was about, again, back to culture. We wanted a room. We built our own office, and we wanted to fill it with like-minded people, regardless of their volume, right? And then we wanted them to go out and do the same thing. And we still, it's kind of weird, but we kind of say, maybe that person isn't a fit every now and then, because the overall feeling is so important to us, the culture. Mm-hmm.
And they've gone a long way to make sure there's a great feeling in there, because they even put a bar in their office, like full-on bar. So, if there's one thing that you
can't tell people that, Kev.
Well,
it's a
what are the hours, by the way?
Bar.
After hours.
What, like, in the next, like, are you going to do anything different in the next 6 to 12 months in terms of running the team, or what you guys are doing with the luxury real estate? Because right now these guys have a 16.5, right?
Yep.
$16.5 million listing in Hilton Head.
That's Tristian. Tristian's incredible, by the way, guys. So if you haven't talked to him, like, just come up and talk to him. He's awesome. I think the first thing I learned, I'm going to make a pack list, right? I haven't done that, right? So I'm going to make a pack list the next time I go out of town. So that's probably the first thing.
Got clothes.
So check, pack list. I don't know. I just think we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're grinders, right?
But we're always looking for the next thing that we think is going to work, and it might be something that worked 10 years ago, or it might be something with AI that's just come out. And, I think the one mistake a lot of real estate people get caught up with is they're always so worried about all the futuristic stuff, when it really, at the end of the day, it does come down to a lot of those old-fashioned consistency, get on the phone, provide service, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to do that. You can have the latest and greatest of everything, but if you're not doing that...
How to Win Friends and Influence People, I think, was written actually a little over 100 years ago now. And I personally feel like it has more bearing today than it probably did back then, because people have been so disassociated because of technology and everything else. And I would say it's a welcome skill set to come back.
Yeah, and Tristan's so great, because he's always like, we've got to pivot, so this might work today, but we've got to pivot if this doesn't work tomorrow. And I guess the biggest takeaway for me, just in anything, is like, just care. Like, care about the people, care about your clients, care about your friends and family and neighbors. Like, and I love calling different people, it's just caring.
And one of the other things I would say we hear this a lot at conferences, but Kevin is actually our coach, and he has helped us build Coast and helped us increase our sales. We've got 60, 80 agents, whatever we've got now. But it's like, if you don't get a coach, you're missing out. There is so much value in getting a coach. You don't need to have a full-time coach, but maybe that's the goal within 3 months, 6 months, whatever. But get a coach. That's totally changes everything, right?
And and it's funny, because working with these guys, I feel like Tim Grover sometimes. And I don't know if you don't know who it is. He was the coach for like Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan and a bunch of others just like them. They had their team coaches, but then they had their coach outside of that to make them even better. And I feel like that's, in a sense, who I get to work with. It's fantastic. And when you think about, and I'm going to drop this, and then I know we need to wrap up here, but there was an interview with Tim Grover and Ed Milet, and I'll tie this into a bunch of other stuff we've talked about. And Ed Milet asked Tim Grover, he said, so I assume that Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan were the best two players you ever coached. And it was like a foregone conclusion question where he just said it like he was going to say, yeah, and they move on. And he goes, actually, they weren't. And I literally like hit stop, rewound, and went back through the YouTube. I'm like, maybe I misheard that. And they were not the best two players he ever coached. He said they were the best two that applied themselves. They were the best. He said Kobe Bryant, literally they'd start practice at 5 a.m. and Kobe was in the gym at 3. He was already like sweaty and already made 300 baskets and so on at that stage of the game. He applied himself. They applied themselves more than anybody else. They didn't have the God-given talent some other people had. They just, like these two guys, applied themselves. So with that said, I want to thank the two of you. It's awesome working with you.
Can I say one last thing?
Yep.
Invest in your people. We came to EXP because Shelley took the time over a year and a half of, I don't know where she's gone, but there she is, of investing in me, and I realized that she cared about me. And then when we came on, another incredible woman, Robin Phillips, has invested in us every single week for the last 2 years. And because of that, our team has grown, and it's about people. People follow people. We followed Shelley. Robin has helped us. We follow Robin and Kevin along the way. But invest in your people, and it will come back to you.
Awesome.
Thanks, everybody, so much. Thank you.